Hey there, Goa fans. Mark DJ Solitaire here with episode 35 of Retro Goa Explorations, my weekly series in which I present one of my favorite tracks from the Goa Trance psychedelic dance movement of the 90s. We're in my second year in the scene, the 95-96 season or academic year, so to speak, from tracks I came across from September 95 through to the summer of 96. And today's track is a brilliant remix. One of my favorites, one that I think in a way is better than the original. At least it fits my preference. Although the original is of course a classic and brilliant. And it's another track that I remember distinctly hearing Cooney play at an Equinox party near the end. It's the same party in Kawasaki at Club Cheetah at which he played Etnika's Screaming Butterfly, which I covered a few episodes ago. And I remember him playing this one near the end of the party as well. The two tracks were not that far apart. And I remember, hearing the opening patterns and thinking, wait, I kind of recognize this. And then, it kicked in and it was like, what the heck is going on here? And this is Man with No Name's remix of the Infinity Project's Stimuli. So it is on this Perfecto CD single that has the original one of the Infinity Project, which was on the first Tip compilation, which I had gotten my hands on in April 95. And this party, I'm pretty sure, was early 1996. Now, that Etnika album came out in April 96. So, Cooney did get some stuff pre-release as well. So, it might have been sometime a bit before that. But my recollection is it was in that early 96, maybe late 95. And I just remember being completely blown away by everything that's going on in this track. There is so much going for it. And the atmosphere is really quite different. Now, Stimuli is an absolutely brilliant track. It starts off really growly and broody and, has some upbeat elements, but the overall, coloring is quite dark. And starts off with a sample that says 7 a.m. So it would be a bit of a darker morning track, but the Infinity Project works at all kinds of times. But this one is distinctly upbeat for several reasons. The instrumentation, the riffs, and the way that the great Martin Freeland of Man with No Name has programmed and sequenced them. And there's this incredible combination of rhythms going on in the different voices. And as usual with Man with No Name Productions, incredible transparency. I mean, the way you can hear so much happening and the levels are so brilliantly balanced. And I think I mentioned that the first time he played at ZNA, I believe in 2017, I had mentioned how amazing all the music was sounding on the big system. And he said, I haven't changed anything. He hadn't remastered them from the original productions in the 90s. He was still playing those ones. I mean, brilliantly engineered back then. So the engineering is phenomenal and the musical content is absolutely astounding. The complexity of the bass line and some of the other patterning is really, it's a whole other level. So there's too much going on too fast for me to point out some of these things while it's playing, but I'll indicate that right now that one of the patterns still has that major third, minor third going on. So that's, again, that sort of oscillation between, what is generally considered, a major third, major chord being more upbeat and a minor chord having some more introspective, perhaps melancholic qualities. And so it's just that real balance. And then there's also the wonderful spoken sample. He doesn't use all of the samples that's in the original. I will point out the one that he does, as well as there's actually two of them, and one of them I've got the source for. So we'll check out what the original one is. Okay, so I think without further blah blah, I will get this incredible remix of the Infinity Project's Stimuli by Martin Freeland playing. Here we go. I mean, beautiful, just beautiful sounds on the synths, as well as beautiful patterning. And then that beautiful chorus voice that is a real man with a no-name special. And then this other sound that really, again, on a big system, just sounds like voices. And some good old hand claps. And then this famous octave. It's just a lower C to a higher C. There's a 8-note difference. And then listen to the percussion coming in very discreetly there. Beautiful big kick. You very discreetly can hear some aerated sound in the background that's going to whoosh into the bass line. Here it comes. What the heck is this, guys? And this was done in possibly late 95. I mean, this is just light years ahead in terms of musical content. Offbeat, syncopated hi-hats with an extra little rhythmic twist. And then we're going to get a broken up pattern of the entire pattern from the track. You can listen to the complexity of how many things are happening. And now we get the full pattern. And then we get one of those famous samples.
Do the neutrons bombard the electrons, or do the electrons do it to the neutrons?
And then just so uplifting, absolutely incredible. Just with that extra voicing happening that's mirroring the main one, while that bass line just continues. And there's another bit added there. Notice how some things continue and then they stop on a certain beat. Other things are continuing and stopping on other beats. And that one. Listen to that pattern with that bass line. It's just this continuous mantra all the way through. And then it's going to go up. It's going to go up now. We're there. A little bit of a twist there. It's that little turn over there. And then, so effective, eh? And then, those are the simple breaks that you do to get people's attention. You don't have to do these long, stupid 30-second breaks with no content like they do nowadays. And now, drums, and then just beautiful, light, airy instrumentation. Perfect morning track. There's that beautiful chorus. Little note change there. Again, that pause. It's the other sample. Now this little pattern's going to come back. Notice the rhythm of that. Love the space line. Whoosh. What a kick. Again, it's deep, it's powerful, but it's uplifting. And that kind of that riff done much more bouncy than the original. It's got a staccato quality, right, where it's detached. It's not, the note doesn't continue as much into it, and then it's doubled up. An octave, I think. Just all of those rhythms. And the notes were really light years ahead of a lot of the music of the time, and also certainly what's coming out now. And there's that pattern from the sort of later part of the original track too. Again, just the repetitive nature of that being like a mantra. There's that voice again. Slowly fades away, that pattern. I mean, that's really, really something. The complexity for me is off the charts. I mean, you know, some of the stuff on paper might not look super complex. I mean, compared to, you know, look at some classical music stuff, there's tons going on. When it comes to electronic music and what we often hear, I mean, right now, what you hear, certainly what you hear the mainstream listening to with EDM, you know, everybody loses it when the hi-hats come in. Then you listen to a bass line like this with that non-stop drive, that combination of notes, and then all these other patterns. It's absolutely phenomenal. And again, the clarity with which we can hear all of them happening simultaneously with the different notes and the different rhythms, absolutely amazing. So, so for the samples, one of the samples, the main one about bombarding the electrons, is from a Cary Grant movie. And let's just listen, because they actually adjusted that sample in the track.
Tell me, Professor, do the neutrons bombard the electrons, or do the electrons do it to the neutrons?
Right, so you don't hear the whole sentence there, but we do hear that pretty cool sample with Cary Grant from a 1951 movie called People Will Talk. Well, there he is talking decades later in this fascinating Goa Trance track. So I'm not sure who said, gave the sample of Float into the World of the Spirits. I don't think it was him. But in any case, that little bit about bombarding the electrons was Cary Grant. So, so there we go. Phenomenal, I think somewhat overlooked remix of the Infinity Project masterpiece, Stimuli, by the ever brilliant Man with No Name, one that, again, just having heard it at that party, beautifully placed by Cooney, as he always did with his track selection near the end of the party. So, you know, as a morning track, unfortunately indoors, but, you know, outdoors, very effective. I just played this at Uppsala as well, because I just, you know, been thinking about, because of this series, you know, some of the tracks that I think are a little less heard that I remember distinctly, and it really worked with the sunset time I was playing. It sounded great on a big system, as always. So kudos, as always, to the Infinity Project and to Martin Freeland, Man with No Name. I will sign off here to leave you with the entire track. I am Mark, DJ Solitaire, leaving you now with the Man with No Name remix of the Infinity Project's Stimuli.
the neutrons.